Hello and welcome to the Daily Millwall for Monday the 31st of July 2023. Not long to go now. Not long to go. Saturday, season starts. But before then, we've got the news from today. This is from southwarknews.co.uk. Millwall boss outlines loan plans for youngsters as the pre-season comes to an end. Gary Rowett has made his mind up about some of his young stars. So yeah, we've got a quote about what's going to happen. So Gary Rowett believes 18-year-old star Romain Essse is now too good for a loan move, but is willing to weigh up offers for other Millwall youngsters. Esse's performances have been one of the highlights of pre-season, and he has received plenty of praise from his manager, teammates and fans. He is part of an exciting crop of young talent at the Den who will be hoping to fight for first-team football over the coming years. Rowett said that while Esse will certainly be sticking with the club this season, the door is open for others. He told NewsatDen, "Well, I think Rom's definitely good enough to go out on loan, but the challenge is he's probably been so good that we won't let him go. I think for everyone else, we're always open-minded. Alex Mitchell's done really, really well. So again, we want to give him the best possible opportunity to keep showing what he can do. And he's shown his improvement. I think the likes of Aidomo physically now looks ready, and he's done really, really well. For all those players, if a loan offer comes up and it looks like such an amazing opportunity, then you have to look at it. It's also about development, and you can't develop players by keeping everyone at the club as squad members." Rowett added after the Fortuna Sittard game that Emakhu will definitely be on our plans after another impressive showing. Millwall made some progress with getting their brightest young talents loan deals over the last 2 weeks. Striker Nana Boateng sealed a 6-month loan move to National League side Woking, while goalkeeper Joe Wright has gone to League 2 side Salford City until January. Promising defender Chinockley has also departed for Bromley for 6 months. So yeah, so I think he's talking about Alex Mitchell there. He says open to loan moves. What was it? What was the quote? What was the actual quote? I think for everyone else who are always open-minded. So Romain is definitely going to stay. Aidomo Emakhu I think is going to stay, and if he gets involved, he's going to get a chance probably. And then we'll see. I think he's talking about Alex Mitchell. Really about him going out on loan. And you wonder, well, he's got to go to League One, hasn't he? Because he's been at League Two with Leyton Orient. He's been in the Scottish Premiership with St Johnstone. He's got to be at least League One. So if that doesn't come up, then, and that's what he's saying here. So he's saying for all of those loan players, if a loan offer comes up and it looks like such an amazing opportunity, so if a League One club does come in for Alex Mitchell, and they say we want him to be our third choice centre back, second choice centre back, or that kind of thing, then you feel, well, that's good. Let's play him down there, send him down there, let him play, rather than sitting on the bench for Millwall in a 9-man substitute bench. So other than that, who else is there that can go out on loan? Nino Adamalaki, maybe him. I don't know. Obviously we've got Murray Wallace and Joe Bryan left now, so maybe him. Abdul Malik. Yeah, I don't know, but if you do that, like you're probably gonna mess around with the under-21s too much. I think the under-21s need to probably recruit 1 or 2 more before they can send any out on loan, because it just weakens them. But there you go. So now moving on to this, also from southwarknews.co.uk. The inside story of Aidomo Emakhu's rise and how Millwall signed him, including sending scouts to watch him train in Ireland. Well, that would be good because that's where he was. The Lions attacker has impressed enough to potentially be an important player this season. They've got so they're doing these things now. If you see there, it says premium. See premium? It's got there home premium and by Swartz Desk in premium. More on that later, but let's read this premium article from southwarknews.co.uk. under the banner of NewsatDen. Name the only current Millwall player to have scored in 3 different European competitions. Nope. Nope. No. You're wrong. It's Aidomo Emakhu. You might be scratching your head thinking, did you somehow miss when the Lions signed a European superstar? Or you're checking Zion Fleming's history on Wikipedia or Soccerbase. Fleming has in fact never even played in European football, in UEFA competitions. Though 12 goals in successive seasons in the Dutch top flight is very impressive. Andreas Vogelsammer has 2 European goals scored in 2 games in the Europa Conference League in 21-22. The answer is Aidomo Emakhu, the Irish winger who officially signed from Shamrock Rovers last January 1st. He netted the winner for the Hoops against FC Twente in the Europa Conference League in August 2021. The following year, the 19-year-old winger scored in the Champions League against Ludogorets and then against FC Skopje in the Europa League. Emakhu has also scored on his Ireland under-19 debut and won the Premier Division title with Dublin side Rovers, who former Millwall midfielder Eamon Dunphy ended his playing career with in 1978. Emakhu's ambition was always to make it as a professional footballer, but if it sounds like it's all been plain sailing for the attacker, that isn't the case. Isn't plain sailing supposed to be spelled P-L-A-I-N? I don't know. Not too sure. His first major setback was when he was not selected for the National League's under-15 squad in Ireland. Soon after that, he was told by Damien Duff, who knows a thing or two about wing play, after winning the Premier League with Chelsea and earning 100 caps for Ireland, that he was too slight. Emakhu left Rovers to go back to schoolboy club Crumlin United. Emakhu then went to another senior club across Dublin, Shelbourne, where he scored 2 goals in an under-17 competition against Rovers. Rovers wanted him back, and Emakhu certainly wasn't bitter after Duff's assessment. In an interview with the 42.ie, Emakhu said, "We learn that people are not always not saying things to you for the sake of it. They're not criticising you to put you down. They want to help you and they pass on that knowledge, and they've got that from their experience. I've realised that what's being said is to take it in and learn from it and use it to make me better. Top professionals don't just get made overnight. They take so much on board along the way." Emakhu was offered a deal by Shells, but his heart was set on Rovers breaking into their first team. He achieved that by making his Rovers debut as a 17-year-old in May 2021, the Premier Division game against Derry City. His star continued to rise, and more clubs, including in the Premier League and in Europe, became interested in taking a closer look, especially after those goals in European competitions. His desire and decision to rejoin Rovers was paying off, with the club giving him a platform to showcase his talent. Millwall sent 2 scouts not only to watch Emakhu in games in Ireland, but Rovers also agreed to allow them to observe him at the club's training ground. It meant the Lions were able to get an insight into how he trained, how he carried himself, how he interacted with teammates, coaches and staff to build a profile of the player to send to the recruitment department. And the recruitment department were impressed with what they heard and with his technical and physical attributes. The scouts saw a dedicated youngster with serious determination, but also a good-natured and respectful young man. The League of Ireland has improved markedly in recent years. Clubs are regularly achieving positive results in Europe to get through rounds. Attendances are up. The Ireland senior boss Stephen Kenny started his career coaching in the league before moving into the national setup as manager of the under-21s and then taking over from Mick McCarthy in the top job in the country. But the aim for talented youngsters is to go to the UK or to a club on the continent. The potential financial rewards are clearly much greater, and there is a chance to regularly play in front of 30,000 fans. The best players will naturally be snapped up by clubs in England and further abroad. Rovers have contributed significantly to the flow of players, making those kinds of moves over the past few years, along with Emakhu. Sinclair Armstrong left Tallaght for Queen's Park Rangers has made regular starts this season. Gavin Bazunu was snapped up from Rovers by Manchester City before a 12-minute switch to Southampton last summer, and Kevin Essse made the move to Inter Milan in 2021. The League of Ireland, it's a summer league now. In the summer, they play their games on Friday nights. Literally most of the whole of the league plays on Friday nights. So it's, I guess if you're professional football, it's kind of good if you want the weekends off. But other than that, yeah, I know that because Chris Twadek, former Mill youngster, is playing for Bohemians there, and currently um, Hayden Muller, playing for Dundalk. So there you go. Emakhu had lots of interest, but besides impressing the Millwall scouts, he was impressed with the vision the club had for him. Emakhu also saw that young players would be given a chance if they impressed. In the past 3 seasons, Danny McNamara, Billy Mitchell, Tyler Berry and Romain Esse come through the youth teams and under 23s to establish themselves as first team or matchday squad regulars that appealed to Emakhu. How did Romain Esse coming through appeal to Emakhu when that happened after Emakhu signed the club? As for Rovers, a source close to the deal said they were impressed with how Mill conducted themselves during negotiations. Emakhu was on a long-term professional deal, and not to jump too far ahead, but if he makes an impact by playing and scoring regularly, and his value goes into the millions, and then Rovers would net a significant win for the Lions ever sold him. We still have an interest in how he does, and Millwall were good on that front, the source said. Emakhu's attitude also ticked an important box for the Lions in that 42.ie interview. He explained his approach to his career. The questions I ask myself all the time are, how do I make myself better? How can I improve? Finding those answers is my main focus, Emakhu said. I've had so much help at Rovers. Robbie Keane has been in and doing some sessions with us. A little bits of advice he's given us sunk in. I think how to set your body and feet for different types of finishes, preparing for the ball in different situations, and gambling in certain areas. Emakhu was already well known in Ireland by the age of 12. He went to Manchester United for a trial, but he didn't develop as quickly physically over the next few years. He was in danger of slipping through the net, former Rovers Academy director Shane Robinson told NewsatDen, referring to Emakhu going back to Crumlin and then being picked up by Shells, but interesting him from abroad really picked up again when he broke into Rovers' first team. How did Emakhu handle being scouted by several clubs? It would be normal for boys if boys in this country break into first teams at a young age. It obviously does generate interest, Robinson says. And Aidomo is quite level-headed. He was going through his education at the time. He only did his leaving certificate, which would have been a big landmark education-wise in Ireland last summer, 2022. He will be quite academic, to be fair to him, which is good. That ties in to a lot of what we do. His school, Moyle Park College, we're very flexible. I know he would have done after school grinds to catch up if he had done a morning training session with us. The club would have helped him in terms of reimbursing him for extra grinds and everything else he needed to keep on top of his education. His school were brilliant, to be fair. They have a good history of having soccer players throughout the school. They understood where Aidomo was and helped him any way they could, which is a big plus when a boy has ambitions like that. So he kept on top of his studies, got a good leaving certificate, and I think that sets most kids up here to pursue their education further on down the road. Emakhu at 19 was a relatively late mover to England compared to previous decades. Until fairly recently, he was almost taken for granted. If you were playing the League of Ireland at 18, 19, you could miss the boat chance at a professional career abroad. Duff, for example, went to Blackburn Rovers from schoolboy football in Dublin at the age of 17. His former Ireland strike partner Robbie Keane, another Crumlin United alumni, was 15 when he signed for Wolverhampton Wanderers. There are plenty more examples, including ex-Lion striker Richie Sadler, who signed at the Den as a teenager straight from the schoolboy side Belvedere. That is changing. Evan Ferguson, for example, played for Bohemian's senior team before moving to Brighton, where he's become a first-team regular and last season became the club's youngest ever goal scorer. In Emakhu's case, Robinson says he's in a good place. Traditionally, like you said, kids would have left at 15, 16 with no leaving certificate and nothing to fall back on if football didn't work for them. So he's in a good place, and it's probably the right age to be moving away as opposed to 16. A lot of the kids, their first step and ambition is to play for Shamrock Rovers and Pats or Shells, because that's the most realistic target. If they can break into a professional team at a young age, then they have a chance of having a career. That's the way it's worked out for Aidomo so far. Robinson believes Emakhu's slower physical development actually had some positive benefits. He would have been a small 13, 14-year-old. He developed later physically and only in the last 18 months. At 12, 13, 14, he was probably smaller than everyone, Robinson says. It was probably a good thing because he had to learn how to use his body to protect the ball more than his size. He always would have been well regarded by a number of clubs abroad, but it's probably only when he broke into our first team that there was proper interest from English clubs, which culminated into the summer of 2022 when he scored in Europe. Probably everybody then in Ireland knew who he was. Emakhu made his debut as an 87th-minute substitute in the 1-1 draw against Championship Burnley in February. He played on the left wing, although that wasn't intention. Robinson outlines his strengths. He's very good 1v1. He's played a lot as a striker for us in the first team. He played as a winger in the academy all along. It depends on the system being played, but he can do both. That's very good off either wing because he can use his left, he can use his right, he can go both ways. He's played as a striker with a partner as well, so he can be effective in both positions. When he gets on the ball, he's got a good mix of being able to beat his opponent, play 1-2s, get crosses in. He's very good in wide areas. One of Emakhu's new teammates is someone he will hope to regularly supply with chances. Tom Bradshaw got a good first impression of the youngster. He's obviously got really unlucky to pick up that injury when he first signed, but he's been really sharp in training since he's come back. Bradshaw told me he's a pacey winger, but he's got good feet. He's a great finisher as well. It was great to see him come back for his debut. There were only good things to come from it. Bradshaw also feels Emakhu as the right character for the Lions. He said, definitely at Millwall we're quite lucky that we were quite a lot of senior pros, experienced heads. It's a dressing room full of character and the club only bring in the right characters. That's very important, that you fit into the ethos of the club and that you suit the club. Robinson believes Emakhu has made a good choice for Millwall. It looks like he could be a right fit for Aidomo, Robinson said. He made his debut against the Clarets, which was nice to see because he's been progressing really well in Ireland. And you would like to see that. You wouldn't like to see that stop. He was going really well here. So it was good to see him make his debut so quick. I know he had a small injury that held him up a little bit. It was good to see him on the pitch. He's had a lot of clubs over and back watching him scoring in Europe at such a young age. He's our youngest ever goal scorer in the European competitions. The likes of that obviously doesn't gather attention. He seems to have picked up wisely in terms of clubs that have given him a quick pathway to first team football. And that's important for him because if he went to a club and dropped down playing 23s, 19s or whatever, it probably would have been a bit of a backward step. He's played at a high level. He obviously has a lot to learn. I'm sure he will learn a lot at Millwall as well. And it goes on and on. Anyone that knows him from Championship Rovers or around the league here will be watching to see how he progresses because he was definitely one of the best young players in the country. The improvement in the League of Ireland, which means that youngsters can see a pathway from his first team to the UK or Ireland, means that they have the chance to experience a senior dressing room containing old pros. Emakhu was a teammate of current and former Ireland internationals Jack Byrne and Joey O'Brien, as well as ex-Brighton midfielder Richie Towell. That made going into the Lions change room an easier transition. He's a very mature person, Robinson continues. Being in a dressing room as well as adults of the last 2 years has helped him. He's not walking into a dressing room that he doesn't know how to act or behave, or what's right or what's wrong. I think that's important. But he's a humble young man and he works hard and he's very dedicated to what he does. He won't want for a lack of effort and work rate because he's very committed to what he does. You could obviously see in that couple of years how he eats and lives and prepares. He's obviously has natural ability. There are lots of guys that have natural ability though. But he's also got a desire to want to get better and improve, not just technically but physically as well. He's worked hard on developing his body and what he puts into his body is a very good place for a 19-year-old boy in terms of tactically and physically. He's very, very strong. Robinson is proud of Rovers' success in developing young talent. We had another kid who left the academy for QPR at the same time, Sinclair Armstrong. He would be a similar type of kid in that he went to QPR. He would have had other options, but again, he's played in the Championship this year, Robinson says. It's a great sign for ourselves, as well as that we've had 2 or 3 strikers who played in the Championship this year. It's good. Gives the boys here something to look up to, that they can see the boys have come through. It's nice to see them play at a really good level in the Championship this year. Robinson and lots of people in the League of Ireland, as well as supporters of Kenny's national team, will be closely following Emakhu's progress this season and beyond. Emakhu has already overcome an early setback at Millwall when he picked up an injury in training days after the move from Rovers was officially confirmed in January. Robinson thinks Emakhu's attitude and work ethic will serve him well. The injury came at a bad time for him because he's gone over there a season here, and he goes over there and picks up an injury, and you think, well, that's not good timing. But he's a naturally fit boy, and it was good to see him thrown into a big game. Burnley were flying, Romain said. The manager Gary Rowett trusts to put in a hard graft, as well as everything else if he gets on the pitch. He's a level-headed boy, and he's had to work hard for it. He has, as I said, when he was 12, 13, there were lots of clubs interested in him, and then it drops off. But he's kept working, and he's still moving up the ladder. Hopefully, he continues to do that over the next couple of years. The end. Oh my God. Now that was a long piece. We read the whole thing, and I've got to say, about 2 points through, I thought it was going to end, and I was kind of upset that it didn't. This is from the Southwark News. It's a new thing they're doing. It's premium. More on that now. Moving on to this. So this is what it is. They're going to be doing, I think, one of these a week, and they're asking you to pay £1 a month for that. Good luck for that. NewsatDen launches Plus service to provide more in-depth Millwall coverage. Read our guide explaining what to expect from an exciting new venture and how to sign up. There you go. Everything's Plus now, isn't it? NewsatDen Plus, Millwall Plus, everything Plus, Disney Plus. Welcome to NewsatDen Plus. We appreciate your interest. So what is NewsatDen Plus? Well, covering the lines over the years, we haven't always been able to write all the great stories we've discovered due to the demands of online and deadlines. We've now decided that now is the time to expand our coverage, so you as fans can share in all the Millwall stories. Deserve great telling and time. To make this possible, we have hired a new journalist to cover the day-to-day Millwall stories, and we're excited to be launching this new section, NAD Plus. We'll add to our coverage of Millwall, bringing more depth than is available on a paper article basis without any commitment whenever you want. So literally, they would want you to pay £1 to literally read that article that I've just read to you. Obviously, there's this kind of things that a lot of papers are trying to do this, and I don't think it's really working out. This is not a paywall though. Everything that is currently on NewsatDen, match previews and reports, manager press conference quotes, team injury and transfer news highlights will all remain free to read. It's not about locking anyone out. It's about creating and funding more content and making it available in a way which excludes nobody. As an independent news publisher, we cannot afford to create this new content without asking readers to pay something towards it. The choice is yours. If you don't wish to, you can carry on reading NewsatDen as before. If fans are happy to pay a small amount for each NewsatDen Plus article or bundle of articles, it will help to fund the journalism and costs associated with producing this extra content. Should there be a lot of interest, it will allow us to expand what we can offer. What to expect? Well, would you like to read the inside story of Millwall's summer transfer window in 2015, a period that defined the direction the club would go in the next decade? Who was first choice goalkeeper target? Who was the alternative striker target to Steve Morrison? Why did Millwall hire a journalist from the local newspaper to their player recruitment team? What about the 95-96 season when Millwall signed 2 Russian internationals who gave up the chance of playing a Champions League quarter-final to move to South Bermondsey? We've spoken to a board member about that crazy season when the Lions went first in the table in December to relegate in May, and less than a year later in administration. What did supporters think about the move to the Den in 1993? There's a story of the 1979 FA Youth Cup winning side and the run to the FA Cup final in 2004, as told by a member of that squad. There will be opinion pieces, total tactical breakdowns, big interviews, and lots more. What you pay. If those sound like the kind of articles you want to read, you can either choose to pay 30 pence per NewsatDen article if you read as and when you like, or read the 4 weekly stories for £1. So yeah, £1 a month. When you read NewsatDen articles, you'll pay for our payment provider Esse, which gives you the option to pay as you go or contribute. Thank you. We're grateful to everyone who's supported us with contributions so far, and this option is still open for those of you who are able to contribute. We'd love your feedback and ideas too, so we can continue to improve and expand NewsatDen. Thank you for your continued support, and we are looking forward to sharing more and more Millwall stories with you. So yeah, that's what they're doing. This is, I think, like this story here. I've got to say, it felt a little bit bloated. They went kind of went one way, went off on a tangent, and then came back. And they mentioned about him being a slight kid like 3 or 4 times. Yeah, look, good luck with it. Good luck with it. But I mean, like, I literally got bored 2 or 3 times through reading that. It's like reading ain't what it used to be. How many people still read? Loads of people don't read. I think there was a survey, like literally, there's a large, scary number of people who haven't read a book since they left school. Like literally, like 35-45% of people in this survey, when they were asked, "Have you read a book since you left school?" they said no. They haven't read a novel. They probably read bits and pieces like reference books and stuff like dictionaries, whatever. But to actually sit down and read a novel, nearly half of the people said no. And you've got to think, like, Southern News, they do have a YouTube channel. I don't know why they don't do things like, why can't they do what I'm doing here now, like reading articles out to you? Especially like you got AI now and like computer programs and stuff where they could just get a robot to read it out. You could get a streamer to just do a stream, and then you have that stream and you can clip it and ship it, and then just get them to donate through that. Obviously, then you've got like people like Twitch and YouTube, whatever, taking a cut, but a cut of something from a large audience on YouTube is surely better than trying to get your own independent thing off the ground. I mean, you could start on YouTube and then you can start up on YouTube and be like members and stuff. Like you can pay to be a member of a channel and it'll get you extra stuff. But yeah, I don't know. It's all multimedia now, isn't it? It's like asking people to read. Like reading's a chore. Like that was really. I thought we were nearly done like 2 or 3 times through. I thought, come on, man. Like, where is this going? Is it not ending yet? But obviously they're trying to make it premium. They're trying to make it worthy of being something that you're going to pay for, and they just pad it out. They just make it longer. It's like, whoa, it's longer, but maybe people don't want longer. Maybe they just want someone to read it out for them. I don't know. But yeah. So NewsatDen Plus. We'll see. Like I said, good luck to him. It sounds like I'm shitting on him, but here's the thing. Obviously, I've read that one because they put that for free to try and entice you in. Obviously, I'm not going to shit all over them and read this. So if they, in the future, when they put these things up, I'm not a big piss taker that I'm going to read them on my YouTube video. Even though I'm very conscious that I'm reading aloud other people's work. Like, I am transformatively changing it in a way by speaking over it and stuff. And that's part of the reason why I do the voices as well. To make it entertaining, transformative. I'm not just stealing their shit. Also, as well as the news, it's got new in the title. It's new. I film the videos at the end of the day. There's a reason for that. Is that by the time I get to it at the end of the day and read it aloud and put it in the video and show it to you, it ain't new no more. So I'm hopefully not stepping on anyone's toes. If we go back and look at this, it's already had 1.3 thousand views. Yeah, you understand? The people who wanted to see this are more likely already seen it. And I doubt, how many of them do you think just read all the way through like I just did? Probably very little, very few. But yeah, I'm very conscious that I'm using other people's work I wait till the end of the day to I do it, so that if they've already got their views, then I put it on in the video. And if NewsatDen start putting out, I'm not gonna take their premium stuff that they're trying to make money from. I'm not gonna put in videos. So yeah. So there's that. Yeah, and that's it for today's video. Big week this week. Big week. Hoping to do a transfer roundup so far. So we've still got a month to go in the transfer. The transfer window closes on the 1st of September. Still got a month to go. Hopefully there's some Millwall business being done. I think if Tyler Berry goes out, that might give us a bit of a budget to play with to bring someone else in. Maybe a defender, maybe a central defender, and a goalkeeper. I think if we get those two in through the door, we've got to be pretty well stocked up. But in terms of rounding up what every other club in obviously doing championship predictions, previews, having a look at what other teams have done in the transfer market, what other teams have done in friendlies, and what everyone's kind of thinking. Like, I remember reading or watching the videos of other people before last season started, and they all thought we were going to drop off. They thought, oh, they can't do it again. Like, they've been there or thereabouts 2 years running. They can't be there again. And a lot of these people had us to finish like 16th, 18th. Some of them even had us in the relegation. Am I mad or are they mad? And I kind of thought the same thing about Luton. I thought Luton would drop off this season, and they fucking got promoted. So yeah, crazy times, isn't it? But we'll see. See what happens. So yeah, come back. Probably I would say Wednesday or Thursday for those videos. On Friday we're actually gonna preview the Middlesbrough away. I'm seeing stories popping up about Middlesbrough got massive injury problems. I don't know if they really have or if it's just they're trying to bait us into relaxing. It's kind of sleight of hand. Don't know. But that's a big game to kick off with, isn't it? Middlesbrough away. I think our record up there is absolute dog shit. So if we get a decent result out of that, i.e. we don't lose, that would be good. And on that note, thank you for watching and goodbye.